Welcome back, everybody, to the Little Less Fear podcast. Today, I would like to introduce an expert in the non-physical emotional intelligence, Bill Heinrich. Prior to starting on his spiritual transformation path, his life was literally out of control. Dysfunction completely controlled his life, and he was making decisions based on who he wasn't. He was literally walking through life blindfolded. He's not blindfolded any longer. He has cracked the code. With nearly 30 years of research, investigation, and experimentation, he found the answers that allow anyone to live life with passion, purpose, and prosperity. We are in alignment here, all the way from California to Vermont. Bill Heinrich, welcome to a Little Less Fear podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm really interested in your journey, Bill, because I've gone through it myself, and I'm wondering, what did you go through in your life? What have you been through? And I know that we don't have enough time to fully go through an incredible journey of yours, but what were the main components of your life that brought you to the journey where you are at today?
I never understood life, and I thought I was crazy. As it turns out, I just have exceptional wisdom. And I never understood why people worked. I never understood the way people did life. It made no sense to me as a child, yet I was brought up in this very strict Catholic family. So I finally, like by the fifth grade, had learned I was going to be doing, 6,000 or 7,000 years in purgatory, and then I was going to go to hell because I just couldn't do anything right.
Yeah.
And I literally made a conscious choice in the fifth grade. I said, well, if I'm going to go to hell, then I'm going to have fun on the way there.
That's excellent. Wow, that's really wise for a kid to even think that.
And then I ended up repeating grades. I just didn't give an F. Okay.
Oh, I see.
It was just, it was total rebellion, but it was nothing. I thought I was crazy. I'm going to fast forward here. I went to a 2-year business school. Got out, got a job in sales and office equipment, and somehow bought a business at the age of 25 and was very successful with that business in the East Coast. Ran it for 7 years, 10x the size of it, sold it, moved to Lake Tahoe, and did a lot of different things. But the entire time I was living that facade. The entire time I was miserable. And it finally, everything just crashed. And I literally couldn't take it anymore. And about 30 years ago, I was in a relationship. It was 2 days after Christmas. I was living at Lake Tahoe. And I snapped in this fit of rage for about 3 seconds. And it was in that fit of rage, this voice came in and said, Bill, this isn't you. And that voice caught my attention. And I went upstairs and sat down for a couple of minutes. And I don't know what happened in that moment, but I stood up and said, I have got to go find the source of this misery. Mm-hmm. And I walked out the door and never came back and changed everything in my life. In the course of these 30 years, it was uncover, discover, discard, research, see all the things that were causing. What I first found out, frankly, was I was completely encased in fear. So all of my decisions and everything, every choice I made was from a place of reaction. And my life was just so out of control. It was nuts. And as I started uncovering things, I started getting in touch with my true self, with my feelings, with my energy. And it turns out I'm an energetic empath. I have an innate understanding of energy, maybe one of the foremost in the world, because vibration is just vibration. So you can only take energy so far. It's just, energy's energy.
Exactly.
And so I've been working now, I'm able to show people how to live their life purpose. And I give 100% guarantee, 100% guarantee, no questions asked. Because when you understand the pieces of how life is really working, when you understand that we live in 2 dimensions, we live in a physical and a non-physical dimension. And what's going on in the physical dimension doesn't matter.
Right.
The only thing that matters is your vibration and how you respond to what's happening in the physical. That's the only thing that matters.
How do you
So
describe what vibration is to your clients?
a vibration is how you feel.
Hmm.
There it is. How do you feel? That's your vibration.
And what
So
does
if you
somebody
want
do
to,
once they understand that? Like, let's go back to, for example, when you were telling your story, you said that what made you realize when you walked out the door and you heard the voice that said this wasn't you, you realized that you were living in a lot of fear. How did you realize that you were living in the vibration of fear?
it took me 8 years to get to that point, to understand that.
That's a long time.
Yeah, yeah. It took me 8 years to get to that point. It took me a long time to get to the point where I could understand feelings. Why I stayed on this path as lost as I was is in and of itself a miracle. Okay.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
And but now I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, beyond a shadow of a doubt, number one, I teach people how to live their life purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Your life purpose is not what you do,
Mm-hmm.
it's the energy behind every thought, word, and action in your life.
So life purpose is not what you do.
It's the energy you do it with.
It's the energy. Is that the same as an intention?
No, no,
Okay.
no intentions. Um, Intention is something that you'd be in the process of creating, and it gets created through vibration and energy.
Okay.
However, when you work with an intention, if you understand intentions,
Uh-huh.
you never work with an intention in the physical, you work with an intention in the embodiment of how it's going to feel when you're there, because you don't really care what it looks like, do you?
Right. And so how does somebody understand the difference between the two if they're hearing this for the first time?
Okay, it's real simple. Okay.
Okay.
We live in two dimensions and
Yes.
there's only two emotions.
We live in two dimensions and there's only two emotions.
Yep.
Okay.
Love and fear.
Yes.
Now, and you have your doctorate in this. Is this correct?
Clinical psychology.
There you go. So let me know if I'm wrong. Okay. It's the two dimensions we live in are a non-physical and physical dimension.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So first and foremost, you who I'm looking at right now does not exist. What exists is the energy of who you are. And I'm seeing a manifestation of this energy in this moment.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yes, indeed.
So the day that you transition
Mm-hmm.
and leave Earth,
Mm-hmm.
your milk carton stays here. And
Yes.
I call it a milk carton just to get people's attention.
You got my attention.
Okay. Your energy leaves, not your physical being. Your physical being stays here and rots away.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only two emotions, love and fear. Both of those are the catalyst for what's happening in your life. Now, fear can only be created in your physical life by your mind.
Wow.
You cannot create fear in the non physical. It is not possible. It's impossible. You can feel fear in your heart, but your heart is your connection to the non physical. And in the non physical, it is impossible to create fear. There's no such thing over there. It's all in your physical life.
Bill, how did you discover this? That the heart is connection to non-fear. I guess that would be AKA pure love. How did you
Love.
discover this?
Well, when you know, like I said, I'm an expert in the area of emotional intelligence and vibration and energy. So
Mhm.
when you understand vibration does not lie,
Right. Yes, that's so true.
Vibration is just vibration. And so the irony is this, is everybody's so stuck living in survival on earth,
Yes, and
and
that's all
all
fear
of their,
based.
it's all fear based, and it's all based on fear of loss, because deep down inside we know we're going to die and we're afraid of that.
Hmm.
And it keeps us from living today in this moment.
So true.
So when you come from a place of love and you understand that's all we are and that's all we're here for,
Mhm.
come from a place of love for the benefit of all involved, regardless of the outcome.
Mhm. Regardless of the
Now,
outcome.
the outcome doesn't, we have no control over the outcome. In fact, the outcome doesn't even matter. It really doesn't matter, right?
True,
What
true.
matters is how you respond to it, you know? And what people do is they live in very severe reaction based on the stories and beliefs inside them that are all focused in the physical, that don't support who they truly are. And this is what's running their life, causing them to make decisions with a blindfold on based upon who they aren't,
Right.
not
And the
who they
beliefs are
are.
just thoughts they just keep thinking. So it's kind of like,
It's just pure insanity,
yeah, right.
because none of it's true. None of it's true.
So true. I mean, it's so
So
insane.
when we were speaking earlier, you were talking about how.
Yeah.
How is a three-letter word that can only be used in the physical? You cannot use the
Because
word how
everything
in the
non-physical is limitless.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
you
All
can
the
create
answers
anything
already
in the
there.
not, you can create anything you desire.
Uh-huh.
So how does it matter? In fact, the craziest part about it is when you understand intentions, you know, people don't live with intentions, they live with goals. Now, let me tell you the difference between a goal and an intention.
Yes, please.
Okay, a goal is in the physical, it's something you can see, touch, and feel. And what you're doing is putting yourself in an extreme state of limitation because you're saying, I can outthink the universe.
Right.
When I work with an intention and I embody the energy, that energy is going to manifest into the physical and will be equal to or greater than my intention itself.
So
Who
for
cares what it
example,
looks like?
could you give an example on how intention embodies the energy?
Sure. I was living in Hawaii and came to Las Vegas to speak. This was, well, I don't even remember now how long ago it was. Let's say I'm in an RV now. I've been in the RV 4 years. So this was like 9 years ago. And I was in Las Vegas to speak, and I decided I maybe wanted to move back to the mainland and I bought a house when I was in Las Vegas, and I got the owner to finance it for me for a year
Mhm.
because I had property in Hawaii I needed to sell, whatever. Anyways, the realtors couldn't put the deal together. I said, give me the owner's phone number. I called him and said, hey, here's the deal. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. So we put it together. I mean, that's like the way it works, right? Like I wasn't there to convince him, but they didn't even know how to explain it. And here I am coming up. I'm a month away from the year and I don't have the money to pay him.
Mhm.
Now, you want to talk about fear?
Oh yeah, that's
Uh,
fearful for sure.
I owe him $250,000 and I
Oh
don't have
my
it.
goodness.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So I sat there and it's like, my intention is to eliminate the fear. I don't know
Like
what
that.
the clarity is going to be here,
Hmm.
but the only way I can find out is by going and speaking to this person that's carrying the mortgage that I'd never met before.
Hmm.
Okay. And I literally that morning picked up all the paperwork on the mortgage stuff that I couldn't get, got in my car without calling anything, and drove down to his office. Okay. This is a true story. I walk in the front door, the receptionist is there. She says, can I help you? And I said, yeah, I'm Bill Heinrich. He said, oh, yeah, Bill, you send us a payment every month for that. Yeah, yeah. I said, like, I don't even remember his name now, John, whatever. Here, I need to speak to him. She said, let me see if he can see you. She said, yeah, he can see you. Go across the hall. And he's great. And I walked in, sat down, and I said, I've come to speak to you because I can't pay you. And I want to have the decency to let you know that I can't make this payment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're going to do, and I don't know how you're going to handle this. However, I'll respect whatever choice you make. If you have any interest, I'll let you know how I got in this position. And if you don't, I won't. It's up to you.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
But I can assure you that I am not going to pay you $250,000 in 2
Uh-huh.
weeks. He sat there. Now, my intention was to clear the fear,
Yes,
because once he made a choice, I would know what to do.
exactly.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
So if he said, I'm going to foreclose on you, I would have looked at him and said, you know, you have every right to do that. And I really appreciate knowing that. I'll put the house on the market and get you paid as fast as possible. Right. You have 4 months, whatever. Right. Whatever he said. He sat there for a second and looked at me and went, I don't need the money. Just keep paying me. We didn't sign a contract. We didn't shake hands. We didn't agree on any additional length of time. That was his response.
I love that, Bill. So you went in with the intention of simply clearing the fear, and just by clearing the fear, you opened up a whole new path of clarity.
Yeah, because I came from a place of love. I didn't go in. What we do in survival, in the physical, is we go to protection. That's what fear does.
Right.
Is it
Yes.
creates the need to protect. So I didn't go in with my story. No
Right.
stories. In fact, I wrote a book that I'll tell your audience how to get. It's called Clarity Has No Story.
I love
Okay.
it. I
So
love it.
so there was no story, there was no excuses. I took full responsibility for where I was at and surrendered to whatever the outcome might be.
Well, then now that definitely makes sense on the difference between a goal and intention. An intention is literally setting something more truthful with integrity, honesty, and coming from a place of self-love without thinking about what the outcome's going to be. Just go in.
No judgment, blame, shame, or guilt. None of that bullshit. No.
Correct. Just go in there and trust.
Yeah.
Hmm. That definitely, I mean, now I have a very clear understanding myself on this. Bill, can we go back on how you were talking about earlier, how you teach people's how to find their life purpose, and that it's not what you do, it's the energy you do with the energy that you do with it. Can we go in a little more details with that?
Yeah. In what direction? there's a there's a lot to uncover there.
Excellent. Good. So, if my life purpose, let's say right now I'm unsure with my life purpose. Okay, I've got a lot of, and let's say that we hadn't had this conversation on intention, and that I have a lot of goals that I feel passionate about. I have these desirous goals because they light me up, they bring me joy, and I have these visions, and these visions are telling me what I'm supposed to do in my life, and therefore that
Mhm.
becomes a goal of mine. How do I set the difference?
No, no, no. It does not become a goal.
Okay,
It's a path that you move toward. That you move towards,
I see. So
and
get take away.
as you step towards that vision, with each step, you gain more clarity, and
That makes sense.
you watch and see how it actually manifests in the physical. If you have a goal, language is so important. Okay.
Yes.
So if I can do that right now. It's open the dictionary, look at the definition of goal.
Uh-huh.
Goal is all about the physical, guaranteed.
Hmm.
We don't care what it looks like. We just care what it feels like.
How does somebody
That's
start
all we,
stepping into their life purpose? And
well, it's like I have put together a process that I'm able to do this with people. I do it very, very, very fast. Okay.
Mhm.
Very fast. And the process is first taking them through what I call an empowerment assessment, but it's really seeing what's standing in their way, blocking them and holding them back. Okay. Just to see what's going on in their life. Now, I created something called the challenge wheel, and I can sit down with a person in an hour. I guarantee you I can find 40 things in their life that
that's standing in their way.
where they're just shooting themselves in the foot. Just the toxin of it, the toxicity of it's horrendous.
Mhm.
And then we all have, there's 38 different life lessons paths we could be on. Okay. And in each of those life lessons paths, there's millions of combinations. So you have to understand what your life lessons are and see how they play out. Because you have life lessons, this means that you have huge blind spots. And
Right.
when you have a blind spot, you're here to learn something, but people are so immune to the blind spot that they can stand in the middle of it and not have any idea that's happening in their life. And I know you see that all the time with people. Like,
Yes.
what do you mean? It's like, yeah, you suck at relationships. Have you noticed that everybody leaves you? Well, it ends up that way, but I don't know why. These people are wrong, and they come in with their crazy excuses
Hmm.
because that we've taught to protect ourselves. So at least we can get just squeeze out some little piece of happiness in this insane thing called life on earth, right?
Hmm.
But when you understand energy
Yes.
and you understand how you feel, that is the only thing in your life that is true, is how you feel. Nothing
Yes.
else is true. Nothing else is true. Everything else is made up. It's not true.
So
Even the story that creates the feeling isn't true. And you can't have a feeling without a story. You can't have an emotion without a story. It's impossible.
Bill, what if you have a client that doesn't know what a feeling is? What if they're so busy reacting and they've ever done in their life is react to adapt, and they don't
Well,
understand what they're feeling?
well, number one, I can't work with everybody.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, the person you're speaking about is so attached to their stories
Yes.
that they're just focused on how to get to death safely
Mhm.
with these stories. But the stories are the things that are killing you. The stories are the things inside you that don't support you. And the stories are what put you in reaction all the time. And the irony is with reaction, if you take the C out of it and put it on the front, you step into creation and you
Ooh,
write
I
a
love
new
that.
story in the moment.
Right. Oh man, that's amazing.
Isn't
Get
that
take the
true?
C
You
out
you've
of
got the PhD. You
reaction
have
and
the
you get
PhD. I
creation.
don't.
Yes, it is so true. And
See how
so
simple it is?
it is.
But
It
people, they
can
live in
be.
these stories that have been handed down in the families and everything, and none of it's true.
Mhm.
It isn't true.
Right.
And they just go on to create that suffering. So when I work with clients, I don't even care what they're saying. I just look at their energy. Like in my group coaching last week, I have this young man who's really upset with his sister-in-law, who's causing a lot of problems with he and his wife, and he's all upset. And people, he's like, "Well, I agree with what most you're saying, Bill." And it's like, "Hey, you're wrong. I'm 1,000% right, and I can tell you why. Because look at your energy. Your energy is telling me that where you're at is not in alignment with your soul." I had another couple I worked with, husband and wife. I worked with them individually. Third session in, working with the wife individually, she said, "I'm going to leave my husband." And I'm like, oh, I just got pulled into a trap here, right? Because I'm coaching them both, right? And I was like, okay, great. Why? Off she went. I said, okay, I have a request. Because she respected me because I had already taught her a lot. I said, I have a request. What's that? I said, I want you to wait 90 days. No, I'm not waiting 90 days. I said, come on. How long have you been married? 16 years. I said, you've been married 16 years and you won't give me 90 days? Is that fair? Okay, I'll give you 90 days. So she gives me 90 days. At the end of 90 days, we have the same conversation, but her energy behind wanting the separation had completely changed. We now had a very peaceful, loving conversation. And she was coming not from reaction, but she was coming from a place of truth for herself, which led them into an uncoupling process. And frankly, they're still together today, but they're uncoupled. They have 3 kids. And the 2 of them, I took them both through it. I showed them how to communicate with love and hear each other. So they had the most intimate conversations. They have a more intimate relationship uncoupled than they did before. They're better off, actually. You know, it's all about the energy.
Yes, it is. And let's go back to the feelings, and reaction. And so somebody's always in a state of reaction, and they're not in a state of creation yet. And let's say that they live their life in worry, in the vibration of always worrying
Mhm.
about things. How can they start to disassemble that worry and start to look in and release that resistance in order to find love?
Okay. You can only worry about one thing:
And that's death,
loss.
life, death, loose. Okay.
Loss.
Loss. Okay.
Could be death, could be your job, could be your house, could be your income, could be your kids.
Mm-hmm.
If you're detached, you're able to enjoy the beauty of the moment. And so, and this is the natural way that we're taught to live in survival.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Maslow's hierarchy, and the 5 basic things that Maslow taught going to self-actualization, right? The self-actualization is okay in the physical, but you and I teach transcendence.
Mm-hmm.
Self-actualization doesn't have anything to do with feelings. Self-actualization only has to do with our greatest asset, which most people don't even know what our greatest asset is. It's
Right.
free will and choice.
Yes.
We
And
are
why
the
is that our
only ones
greatest
in
asset?
we're the only ones in the universe with it. And you don't use it. You give it away to fear.
That's so true.
Yeah.
They give that power away to fear and give fear more
Uh-huh.
power.
That we're more comfortable. It's like
Oh yeah. We're tuning in right now with Bill Heinrich.
everybody's living with what I call social policing, and that is making sure that they live up to the standards of their neighbors and their friends and the cars and the that. And there's no freedom in that whatsoever. No, it's actually a life based on judgment. And
True.
whatever you judge, you are.
So true. And
When you
again,
live without judgment,
judgment
go
is
ahead.
also coming from fear. So as long as you're judging, you're living in fear.
Always judgment. I actually refer to it now as measurement.
Yes.
See, that this is where, because in the physical life, it's all about separation. we different names, different people, different city, different state, different country, different. It's all separation and labels.
Right.
Yet in the non-physical, you and I are 1000% equal.
Always.
And I so respect and love your uniqueness of what it is you are living for to give people. This is your uniqueness, and it's beautiful.
It
And
is.
you can have all of it you want. And it's with that uniqueness that we can have this open-minded conversation, because we aren't into protecting or defending where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if anybody's listening to this and you think I'm full of crap,
Mm-hmm.
just take what you like and leave the rest. Okay.
Sure.
And with that, you're going to be taking all of your suffering too. Okay.
So true. Yeah.
Because with what I'm teaching, you can live without suffering.
Mm-hmm.
You live from a place of love. You know, it's just so simple. You know, fear knocked on the door and love answered, but no one was there. They can't coexist. It
Bill,
is
so
not possible.
if love is the ultimate answer, does that mean that we all have the same life purpose?
No,
No. Okay.
no.
So
We are all love.
okay.
We are all pure light. We are all pure energy. But everybody's into being a human doing instead of being a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And once you understand how you're supposed to be, how you're different, and when you understand your unique self-expression, your authentic self-expression, that you're just here to share and love others and share with them your unique perspective. You know, Rumi says we each have a very specific purpose, very specific purpose. And in the heart of every other person on earth is a desire for your purpose.
That's beautiful.
It's true.
And because of that, that is why we're all connected. And that is why
Yeah.
we are all sharing and connecting energies.
Mm-hmm. That's why when you know the truth,
Yeah.
with what you've been through,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
We are in total complete alignment. We had different experiences to get us where we're at. Yet a vibration is a vibration. And when you understand the difference between fear and love and this facade called life, you know, it's the misery people live in. Listen, I was there. I had to go find it. This is like my path was kind of different, you know, as was yours. But here we are, and you know, you have you have a PhD, and you know, I used to say I had 3 PhDs, you know, misery, loneliness, and suffering, or something.
It's
You know,
true.
that's
Those are all schools, definitely.
yeah, you know.
Bill, so let's say that somebody starts to uncover their own uniqueness, and they start to discover their own unique self-expression. How then, when they're living on that vibration and the vibration of love, do they start to discover their life path, their life purpose, and where they're going and where they're supposed to go?
They can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It's real simple. Like,
and what does that feel like?
What does it feel like for you?
For me, it feels like joy.
Yeah. It's there's an absence of work. You become ageless, you become timeless. You understand what it is for me to look at you and to say, listen, you and I have a very deep, intimate, loving connection.
Yes.
See how softly and beautifully you answered that? Now that's something in the physical that would terrify someone. If I'm talking to another, well, if they're hanging out in the, look at the physical is fear. the best you're going to get out of the physical is lack of clarity, work, and suffering. Okay. That's the best you can get in your physical life. That's it.
Yeah.
You cannot find love in your physical life. It is not possible. Let me repeat that. It's not possible to find love in your physical life. Why? Because love comes from inside.
That makes
And
sense.
what's in the physical is a manifestation of the love you're feeling.
Right.
So when I ask you about one of the most special times in your life, you're immediately going to go to a moment how you felt.
Mm-hmm.
If I ask you to describe love to me, you can't. If I ask you to describe gratitude to me, you can't. Abundance, you can't. It's a state of being.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a physical state. What you see in the physical is the manifestation of that energy.
I see. So I'm a poet. I've been writing since I was 7 years old, and I write endless poetry on love. And
Wow.
I do include a lot of physical attributes to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually feel that when I write, that is when I'm in my state of complete bliss. And
Mm-hmm.
there's source energy running through me. It comes through me with it's
Mm-hmm.
almost channeling through me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I wonder where these words come from. And how can I attach physicality if it's non-physical?
Because what you're actually doing, okay, is you're giving a demonstration of the manifestation of that experience.
Could you repeat that?
You're creating a vision, a picture of how love manifests in the physical.
Yes. Right on. And you know what? That's a poem that you just said right now. That's poetry right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. And so that I take it that is
That
the
is
same. Yes, it is.
like everything I'm saying right now is not me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thinking of these answers. There's nothing to think about.
Exactly.
I just open myself and let the information flow.
Yes. That's how poetry is for me. I just let
Mm-hmm.
it flow. And that's how it is for musicians and artists and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when they're in flow state.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody's in flow state, that means that they have stepped out of their physical and allowed their pure essence of what is infinite intelligence, which is pure love, flow through them without any resistances.
Well, that's not really correct
Okay.
because we're always in flow state.
Okay.
You don't shut off the flow, you block it.
So true.
So, as you're writing poetry, you have the capacity to release your blocks and trust the divine.
Yes. And so once you trust the divine, and if we're always consistently in a flow state, and we're so basically human beings or human.
If you're alive, you're in the flow state. You have energy. Your energy came from the non-physical. Your energy is non-physical. Your energy is returning to the non-physical. Your mind is teaching you how to survive and ignore the most important thing of life, and that is how we can come here and be love and experience love
Mhm,
and all the beautiful things that life really is.
mhm. Bill, I have another question though in regards to this. And I don't know if I'm not sure. This might have to be a different episode, but it's in regards to the subject of karma. So if people
Yeah.
have karma to fulfill,
Uh-huh.
wouldn't them, just hypothetically, wouldn't they have to go through a lot of this reaction, less creation, less flow state, and more blockages in order for them to clear some of their karma and life lessons?
I don't know.
Okay.
That may or may not be true. I do
Mhm.
know this, okay, as far as karma is concerned.
Mhm.
The easiest way to see karma is to understand that right now, you and I are making the bed that we're going to sleep in tomorrow.
Yes.
And as far as previous lives and karma are concerned,
Mhm.
my quest has been to show people, yes, there is a heaven and hell, but it's on earth. So all of your wonderful Disneyland visions of heaven after, wrong. It's happening right now. Okay.
Mhm.
It's happening right now. And you can create heaven on earth. You cannot create heaven on earth while you're attached to the physical. It's not possible because the physical is just extreme limitation.
Mhm.
The non-physical and your heart and love, fear is about protection. With love, the more you give, the more you get. I mean, they are the antithesis of each other.
Right. And, and they both work the same way. I mean, the more fear you also give and put out, the more fear you're going to get back in return.
Well, where your attention goes, you go.
Yeah, where energy goes, attention flows. And where the attention
It's
flows, the
it's
energy
actually just
goes.
the opposite. Yeah, it's
Where
just
the
the opposite.
attention flows, the energy goes.
Yeah,
That
and
makes sense.
expands.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where free will and choice is so important
Mm-hmm.
because when you know, when I realized that my life was so out of control, you know what the funny part is?
What's
Now
that?
it's even more out of control. But it's supposed to be because what I'm doing, you know, like I can tell you very clearly, there's not a doubt in my mind that you and I are going to do some work together in the future. There's no question in my mind. I can see it,
That's
right?
wonderful. That's incredible.
But it's just, but see, I'm here in the moment.
Yes.
I'm not here to do that, but I can see that,
Yes.
right? I can feel that. It doesn't matter what that is. It doesn't matter. But I'm in the moment. I'm writing my story in this moment.
Because this moment is all we have, and this moment is all we'll ever have.
You're and you're we're both of our lives are out of control, and it's just absolutely beautiful because we get to live free. You know, like hell, you don't even, you got some
So
idea what
true.
you're going to do later today, but you really don't know.
Right.
We have no clarity in our lives.
I love that, Bill. If you accept that your life is out of control, you allow more miracles and surprises to come into your life. Because if you try to
Hmm.
control your life, then you're living in resistance.
Yeah. And you're actually choking off the energy of creation.
I love that. My life is out of control, Bill. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, and mine is too.
Yeah.
I give I give a keynote talk on that. Another keynote talk. Here's another one that's interesting.
Sure.
Okay, is on accountability and responsibility.
Ooh, that's a good
You,
one.
okay, you have to pick one. Which one will you pick?
Let's do responsibility.
Oh, you're lucky. That's the right answer. Okay, because when you look at it energetically,
Uh-huh.
if you're not responsible for everything in your life, then you cannot change it.
If you're responsible for everything in your life, you cannot change it.
If you're not
Oh, if you're
responsible
not responsible. Okay.
for everything in your life, then you're accountable and you're a victim.
So true. Yes.
You give your power away.
Right.
So I am responsible for everything in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
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 Yes.
Well, what does that mean? That means I have the power to create from that. I have the power to choose differently. I have all the power. I'm not giving my power away.
I love that.
So people all the time put themselves in this position. They don't even understand the language. They're always in a position of accountability. Oh, I can't do that. No, I've got to keep my job. It's like, you are so wrong. There are a million different choices. if you'll take responsibility for the fact that you're sitting right where you're sitting at this moment because you choose to sit here, you can make a choice to get up and leave.
Right. Right.
You have many, many choices, but you see, that's not how people view life, is it? When they talk to you,
No.
they come in buried in their stories and, oh, I'm stuck and I can't do this and I can't do that. You know, like I'm running some ads and people have to fill out an application to work with me. You know, they fill out an application. How committed are you to changing your life? You know, oh, 7.5. It's like, boom, off the back of the bus for that one. You know, they don't even, I sent them a note and told them to go buy my book. I mean, if you don't have commitment, you have confusion.
Self-commitment.
Commitment to anything. Without commitment, you can only be confused. Commitment is absence of responsibility.
Without commitment, you can only be confused, because with the absence of it, you have what do you have?
Confusion. You have questions.
And I got confused even with that sentence.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And with
I don't have any confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have any confusion because my life is out of control. Mm-hmm. So I know where I am in this moment, and I know how connected we are, and I know how we've become instant lifelong friends with this mutual respect for each other, and both of us having deep appreciation for the energy of who we are.
Yes, absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
This has been an amazing interview. Bill, Heinrich, everybody, deep appreciation, deep appreciation with each other's energy, indeed. And how can our viewers, our watchers, and our listeners find you if they need to talk to Bill Heinrich, you, the divine purpose guy?
They can go to speaktobill.com.
Speaktobill.com.
Fill out an application. And if you really want to live in extreme happiness without sacrificing success, I can show you how to do it. It's very easy. However, I tell all my clients the same thing. I don't care about their results at all, because I can't make choices for them.
Right.
I'm just honest, but I'll show you your specific blueprint. I'll show you your specific path that'll take you to a level of power that'll blow your mind. It'll absolutely blow your mind. There's a book called Clarity Has No Story that your audience can download. It's at myfreebook.me. It's free and it's all about me. myfreebook.me. And they can get a copy of Clarity Has No Story. Because when you have clarity, there's no story. Stories are for victims. Stories are for manipulation and control.
Yeah, and accountability.
Yeah, stories are for, oh, look what happened. And no, you don't understand. Right.
Awesome. Bill, thank you so much for sharing your incredible energy. I'm definitely pumped up. I took some amazing notes. I look forward to keeping in touch with you. Thank you so much for sharing all of your energy, your motivation, setting a clear path for the rest of my beautiful day. And I wish you and your loved ones an incredible week. Thank you so much for being on A Little Less Fear podcast.
And, thanks for having me. And thanks for being who you are. Pretty magnificent.
Thank you. And you know what? Likewise, thanks for being who you are, Bill. Take care now.